and the visual is stunning. I hope they document what I'm becoming. Congratulations.
People's Kid, how we doing? It's your boy Kobe back at it again with another video, and as always, hope you guys are having a blessed day. As we now get past the All-Star break, I decided I wanted to finally talk about a player that it seems everyone has an opinion on, and that is none other than James Harden. Now, you might love Harden or you might hate Harden, but I think it's time to go a bit in depth on his season and also a bit into his overall reputation, as the polarization of his game from fans and analysts is at an all-time high. So with that said, let's hop right into it. No matter your thoughts on the NBA present day, it is hard not to recognize the significant differences from the eras before now. Without a doubt, the three-point shooter has a new value in the modern era, but to leave it at that would be a bit disingenuous to the full evolution that has occurred. Whether you look at championship philosophies such as the triangle offense that have disappeared, or quality players today that are being marginalized for their lack of fit, the new NBA is anointing stars and teams that emphasize things like position flexibility, spot-up shooting, and leaving the ego at the door. Where teammates teaming up in the past would be sacrilegious, not playing the game today puts you behind the 8-ball. Adding to this reformed and modern game, the players that rise to the top come in all different shapes and sizes, each unique for the rare combination of skill sets they bring to the table that make them elite. Maybe only next to the Warriors guard Stephen Curry, the Houston Rockets' James Harden is one of the more unlikely candidates for perennial top 5 player in the league status. Since his arrival to H-Town in 2012, Harden has shockingly ascended to heights nobody thought he would ever reach, culminating in his first NBA's Most Valuable Player award in the 2017-2018 regular season. Just when you thought he had reached his peak though, Harden is in the middle of pulling a Stephen Curry a la 2016, one-upping his MVP year by getting his game to another level the following year. But unlike the feel-good story of Steph rewriting the book on what it means to be one of the game's best, many NBA fans and analysts cannot stand James Harden and what he stands for in this new brand of 2019 basketball. Some say he cheats, others say he's boring to watch, and some say he's straight up ruining the NBA. Instead of just randomly responding to each assertion, I decided to put together a list of the 5 most common cliche statements of James Harden and rate them in terms of how truthful they are. Statement number 1, James Harden is a flopper. Truth meter, 8 out of 10. Pretty true. Ah yes, this statement is probably the most well represented on the list by NBA fans that have something to say about the beard. As the league leader in free throws attempted per game, and overwhelming league leader in attempts being fouled behind the three-point line, many would argue the statement could be supported in the numbers alone, but I have to disagree with this thought process. Remember, just because somebody shoots a ton of free throws does not automatically make them a flopper. There are so many all-time great players the NBA has seen who lived at the foul line that would never be accused of flopping. The difference with Harden and why his criticism is so loud is because upon viewing him, it's clear he seeks out fouls nearly as often as he actually tries to make the basket. Strategically, Harden uses all aspects of the game to his advantage, and this includes leaning on the incredibly powerful influence a referee can have on the outcome of a single play, a few plays, or even an entire game. Respect it or not, Harden has no shame in what he's trying to do, and will absolutely try to sell a foul call to get back on the free throw line. To his credit, Harden does an otherworldly job in catching his defenders in fragile situations where they are pretty much caught with their hand in the cookie jar. From a completely anecdotal perspective, I would honestly estimate around 90-95% of the foul calls James Harden receives are actually legitimate, where the defender definitely makes contact with him. On the other hand, there is no denying 5-10% of Harden's foul calls are controversial and upon second review probably shouldn't be getting a whistle. While flopping is part of the game and committed by just about any superstar in the league on a regular basis, it is the frequency in which Harden flops that hurts his brand among other stars. Sometimes it won't even be on an actual shot, but rather exaggerating a bump when he's bringing the ball up because he recognizes the other team is in the bonus. These are the moments that even the most easygoing NBA fans would find disgraceful. So to sum up the point, yes, James Harden is a flopper, but in a league full of floppers that essentially rewards the style of play, the beef should be with the NBA Rules Committee more than anyone. Statement number 2, James Harden doesn't play winning basketball. Truth meter, 2 out of 10. Strongly not true. This statement has picked up a lot of steam in alignment with his ongoing 30-point streak, which at the time of this video stands at 32 consecutive games. There are many people that look at the streak of Harden and scoff because of his clear efforts to keep the streak alive in moments when the game is either completely out of reach or wrapped up. And while this point is completely fair, and the streak is definitely mirroring the saturation of Westbrook triple-doubles, let's not forget the details just to fit a narrative. At the onset of this streak, the Rockets were sitting at 12-14 and looking like they were in serious jeopardy of missing the playoffs. Combined with the fact Chris Paul sat out around 6 weeks and the lack of a bench Houston currently has at their disposal, the only chance the Rockets had was if James Harden went out there and took 30 shots a game with a near record usage rate. But in between all the stat padding, Harden has led the team to a record of 21 wins and 11 losses, and they are now safely projected to reach the postseason. Now, there are clear problems with this model and its ability to succeed in the playoffs. See Kobe Bryant.
In terms of winning championships, I don't think that style is ever going to win championships.
But it is clearly not fair to claim Harden's style does not lead to winning basketball when his style has proven to be one of the great recipes to regular season success over the last 4 years. Statement number 3. James Harden is the greatest offensive player we've ever seen. Truth meter, 4 out of 10. Not really true. For those that thought I would only be looking at the comments that criticize Harden, you are mistaken. It is time to revisit the comments Chris Paul made earlier this season, claiming James to be the best offensive player he has ever witnessed. Alas, there are many ways to define how great an offensive player is, but I don't know exactly which would put Harden on top among the best players to ever play the game. If we were basing it off of stats, the Beard is averaging 36.5 points a game, far and away the league leader this year, but it's hard to say what he's doing is unprecedented. Kareem, Jordan, hell, even Kobe have averaged similar scoring totals for a full year on better percentages. If you want to include his passing ability in the discussion, sure, this elevates him, but then there is no way I could rate him over the triple threat ability of playoff LeBron, who is a walking 30-point triple-double on probably 50% shooting anytime between April and June. And even if you want to lean on the case of Harden's versatility in scoring in the lane and shooting three-pointers, I have to say the lack of a true mid-range jumper disqualifies him for being considered the most well-rounded offensive player as well. With all that said, what I will say about Harden is that he arguably has the most unguardable move in NBA history, and despite what naysayers think about its legality, his step back is on par with any signature move of former legends. Yes, this includes the Jordan fadeaway. Simply put, the combination of his accessibility of the shot against players nearly half a foot taller than him, as well as the high potential for being fouled, undoubtedly puts Harden in rare company. Statement number 4, James Harden chokes in the playoffs. Truth meter, 5 out of 10. Kind of true, but trending down. No matter what James Harden is able to accomplish in the regular season, the playoff performances of Harden's are perceived to be the low-hanging fruit that clearly undermine his standing among the other greatest players in the league. For a player of his stature, it is amazing how many games you can recall where he wasn't able to deliver for his team, even forgetting about the 2012 NBA Finals where he was a national embarrassment. There still remains at least 3 or 4 playoff games of his career that definitely serve as a black eye for his legacy. But while you can talk about the 13 turnover game against the Golden State Warriors in 2015, or his shocking passiveness against the Spurs in 2017, it isn't like he has always performed poorly in the playoffs. In the same playoffs against the Spurs, Harden dropped 40 points in multiple games, and his team was 1 game away from taking down the Golden State Warriors last year. In fact, since joining the Rockets in 2012, Harden has never averaged less than 26 a game during the playoffs, and is still a nightmare to deal with for opposing teams. For people that really claim he is a choke artist, let us see what happens this year if the Rockets' Harden, Chris Paul, Capella, Eric Gordon, and PJ Tucker are all healthy. They probably can't beat Golden State, but if they avoid them early, they are an easy pick to make it to the Western Conference Finals yet again. Finally, let us all remember every NBA legend we worship has had their choke moments in the playoffs. Every single one of them. So while Harden has some bruises, at 29 years old, he still has a lot of basketball left and a lot of playoff moments to come that I believe will change the narrative. Statement number 5. James Harden is overrated, aka not a top 5 NBA player. Truth meter, 0 out of 10. Comically not true. For the informed viewers that watch this video, there isn't much for me to say that you won't already know here. Since probably the middle of the 2016-2017 NBA season, and probably even earlier, James Harden has become an unquestioned top 5 player in the league, and in my opinion, is in a battle for the number 2 spot with Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry. Now, some people get triggered at the thought of Harden being the number 2 player in the world, but there's actually a pretty easy case for it. As we've already established, Harden plays winning basketball, evidence from the Rockets' record over the last 4 years, and he's doing it while putting up numbers that mirror prime Kobe. In the last 2 years, Harden leads the league in player efficiency rating, win shares, and box score plus minus. If you want to counter-argue that Harden can only be successful playing on the ball while Durant or Curry are much more flexible in how you use them, this is a possible take, but that alone doesn't make them better. In the question of how much Harden can fit with other players, did we not just see arguably a more ball-dominant player in Chris Paul join the Rockets with zero problems whatsoever? So at the end of the day, despite all the hate, the real reasons fans will be quick to discredit and disrespect James Harden is because they don't like his brand of basketball. And sure, while Harden definitely plays the game like that one guy we all know at Pickup who calls the most ticky-tack fouls and holds the ball way too long, he is insanely successful in doing so and has a good shot to win his second consecutive MVP award. That is simply just the hard truth. Anyways guys, that's the video. Hope you enjoyed. Harden is probably the most polarizing player in the league, but he is just damn good at his job. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Do you agree with the ratings? Do you think I missed something? Comment below. With that said, hope everyone has a great rest of the day, or night, or whatever time it is. I'll be back at it soon. Like, comment, you know the drill. Peace out.